they ain't talking, then I mean the money getting low. You know?
Now, I was asking you this off the air about the album, the new album, Blame the Chat. I see a lot of positive responses from it, and it feels very cohesive and well put together. Do you think you owe that to just streaming live and letting people really be part of the process?
Yeah, I think I cracked the code. This might be the method. Because I always tell people the analogy. I'm like, you know what? I use a food as an analogy, right? Like if you go to Burger King, right? Mm-hmm. You go in there for a burger and they be like, nah, we gonna give you this pizza. If that's not the best pizza in the world, you ain't never coming back to Burger King again, right? Mm-hmm. But if you go to Burger King, they giving you the exact burger you asked for, the right amount of pickles.
So you're giving people exactly what they want. Exactly. But you know what's interesting too, because when you're in the process of making a song, it's going to sound way different than when it's done.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people to also have that type of vision to be able to understand what a finished product is going to be like.
Yeah. The highest performing song on the album is called Speed. Mm-hmm. Speed. And yeah, and the people watching, they told me, no, don't do that song. That's not the one. Nah, bro, do this one, do this one. And then when I finished it, they're like, oh my God, this the one.
You know what I want to say? What I see the ladies like is what I prefer.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
And that definitely feels like a song that was purposely for the ladies. And that's just you on there.
Mm-hmm. Just me. Yeah, I can hold my own weight for sure. But you know, with the hit-a-thon, just being on live, having artists pull it through, it kind of adds to the aesthetic for the live stream.
Right.
You know, and I'm not finna not put out no great features. You know?
Well, listen, so let's talk about the song with Bia, because that actually went viral because you guys were talking about how you weren't supposed to, like, you guys had did this song. They were asking, when is this song going to come out? And they said your ex didn't want you to do the song with her or something like that.
That was an old song. That was a long time ago.
So what happened with that? And why didn't she want you to put that out?
It wasn't more so like an ex didn't want me to put it out. It was more so like I didn't want to put it out because me and B was like flirting on the song. Mm-hmm. But we made the song like when I wasn't in a relationship.
Right.
You know what I mean? But we was like talking a little, you know.
See, that's interesting because if you're flirting on a song and it's
work, but at the same time, but
right,
it's like,
it's disrespectful, you think?
In a way. I mean, we was talking about just extra stuff, you know.
Like what? Like what?
No, it was just like I don't know what I could say on the air.
Go ahead, say it.
It was like a little sexual.
Mm-hmm. You can say sexual on air. Come on,
I don't know.
I thought you were about to say some real curse or something like that. Okay, because that ended up going really viral, and so that was a whole thing when that happened. All right, well, you know what? Let's play something off the album. All right, let's play Pink Dreads right now. You want to introduce it?
Yes, this song is made by two very established content creators, myself and Black Boy Max. We made it on live. This is the first song I made on live.
Okay.
Prior to the hit-a-thon.
All right, well, let's do it right now. Here's Pink Dress. When we come back, we got more with DDG. I want to talk to you about the album being the #1 album right now for hip-hop, but also being in the top 3 in Jamaica. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm telling you, man. You got to get to Carnival.
Yeah, Sincere said I'm stamped out there.
You're stamped out there. We'll talk about it this way up. What's up? It's Way Up with Angela Yee, and I'm here with DDG. We're talking about his album, Blame the Chat, that's out right now. What's the hardest part about streaming for all of these days and weeks and months? The hardest part.
You really just don't get a lot of sleep, to be honest. It depends, like, money-wise, the longer you own, the more money you make. Mm-hmm. You know?
I'll never get off.
You know what I'm saying? That's why it kind of be hard to get off, but at the same time, it's like, even outside of the money, it's like you create this type of connection where if you're not on the stream, it's like the people watching, the viewers get separation.
Right.
Like you back home, because they probably just going throughout their day, they can just click on, get entertained for a little bit, go back to work and just keep the stream playing. So, it's kind of hard to like leave them in a way,
How hard is it to be in a relationship if you're on stream all the time, though? Because that has to feel like, damn, can we like have some us time?
Yeah, I don't think it's really possible.
Right.
Unless like the girl like really streaming as well. You know what I mean? I think that's really the only way, because somebody that's not in this world just wouldn't understand it.
Would you prefer someone that wants to be a streamer too, or is one, or someone who's not?
Probably somebody else. So I always fall for girls. You say.
Okay, because you're around that.
Yeah, so I feel like, if I was to date somebody, which I probably won't get in another relationship until I'm like 53.
He's lying.
But
You're a relationship type of guy.
if I was, it'd have to be like somebody that do the same thing as me, just because, I don't feel like dealing with that. Let's watch this movie, this and that. You know what I mean? If I want to work, I want to work. You feel me?
Now, look, you have Offset on the album, Do What You Want.
Uh-huh.
I heard that song was originally called Toxic Twins.
No.
No, I'm kidding. But people were loving it. People love that song too. Now, I told you when you came in here, we talked about something that you said on your stream. You said you were forced to live paycheck to paycheck because you have to work constantly to keep up with your expenses. You're like, I got to clear that up. Because I was like, okay, I know you're making a lot of money, but also investing is important. So can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah, I mean, I invest a lot of money into my content. So when I said that, I was definitely exaggerating. I'm nowhere near broke.
Right.
I'm making more money than I ever made right now, and it's a blessing. But I think the reason why I'm making so much money is because I'm investing a lot of my money.
Okay.
So, I feel like the more you spend on yourself, the more you get back.
Because people always, and somebody called up here earlier and they just jump into this and they don't understand the finances that come behind it too.
Yeah, it's really expensive.
Oh, there go his real voice.
Yeah, it's expensive to, like getting into streaming, you gotta pay for a bunch of different services and stuff, so.
I just be trying to tell people, like, if you want to get in this game, you're going to have to spend, It's
Right.
a lot of competition.
What would you tell, so say somebody's asking you that, what are some things that they should know that they're going to have to invest in that they didn't even think of?
It's like different, like, it depends on how you want to go with it. Like, you can start off just with a little cell phone. You got to pay for custom PCs and monitors and mics and services to stay on the stream. Like, this is a multi-$1,000 operation.
Right.
Tens of thousands that you're spending. You're gonna get it back if you're consistent,
When you think about this album and like I said, what people are saying about it in comparison to your old music, personally, when you compare this to where you started, because when I first met you, it was a lot earlier on. Some people also look at you as a streamer, and like I didn't even know he did music. I saw people saying that. So when you look back at like stuff that you've done before, obviously as an artist, you want to make sure you grow. But now when you look at stuff from previously, what do you think? Like as you critique yourself?
I think music prior to pandemic is not good, in my opinion. Like I wouldn't listen to my own music from prior to that. I mean, I do have a gold record from 2018 though, and I'm singing on it. But like I really enjoy my music now. Like I listen to myself like a listener. You feel me? Like, oh, I like this. So, I mean, not to say I didn't back then, but I feel like now I definitely evolved as an artist.
Right. And that's always the goal. And you said you're also going to start producing your own music too.
Yeah, these producers, man, they out here, they getting greedier and greedier, them tariffs.
Them tariffs. Yeah, Donald Trump wants to put tariffs on production, on music production now. So if you try to...
It's going to go through the roof now.
Can you see yourself producing for other artists too?
Yeah, I would, for sure. 100%. I'm going to learn. Like, once I learn, I might be the next Kanye West with the beats. So, I might be the next Pharrell with the beats.
But old Kanye West, not the... not Cousins Kanye West.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as things that you've learned from, like, because obviously your fans and people who watch the stream is like your family too. You kind of let them in on every aspect of your life. But you think that there's certain things that you're like, okay, now moving forward as I grow and mature, maybe I don't want to let them into everything.
Yeah. I mean, I try to keep my, like, personal life, like, things like involving, like, my son as separate as possible. Because he might pop in on my stream. A lot of people think, like, I film my son 24/7. But, like, when he pop in and I'm streaming, he just goes so viral every time.
Right.
It's like, he be on there for maybe, like,
And then that's the part that everybody sees. And so
Yeah.
he was on the whole time.
Yeah, so people be like, you know, you got this stream, like, you pop in and then, like, I would like to begin. I'll be able to say, my mom helps me with that. My mom would help me while I finish my stream, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Listen, and when you're 53 years old in a relationship, you think you'll still be streaming in your next relationship?
nah, I think streaming stuff, I'll probably be done mid-30s. I think mid-30s is kind of crazy to be streaming. I mean, there's some people doing
It's gonna be something different happening by then, though, because things are happening so fast.
Yeah.
Like if you look at everything that's happening with AI, are those things you think about as far as incorporating into what you do? Because everybody's like, you got to pay attention to that now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think the whole world gonna be different. I
Gotta
think
go to
we're
work.
Start dating robots.
biggest thing that-
all types of things.
The biggest thing that changed my life was realizing.
So maybe your next relationship will be with a robot.
That might be smooth.
I think that might be actually what you need.
You know what I'm saying? You seen that movie with Megan Fox in it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, one of them.
The biggest thing that
Oh, that's the robot you want.
No. I'm just saying like a human skin robot. You
It
know,
looks
not
real,
like.
not something that looks like metal.
Yeah.
Now your hair growing back too. We talked about that because you said you were planning to grow it back right away after you hit these milestones, cut your hair off. You know, when it comes to cutting your hair off, they always act like that's like a very spiritual thing. Did you feel like it was deeper than just saying, okay, I hit this milestone, let me cut my hair off? Or do you feel like, because some people will always tell you your hair is something very symbolic.
Yeah, I did feel a little emotional. Like probably like
the
2
biggest thing that
days
changed
after
my
I
life
cut
was
it.
realizing that if I don't control
Cause I
my
still got my dreams. I walked past them because I just had them on the bathroom. And I was like, man, my hair really gone.
Yeah.
And then I get like a little emotional, but I feel better. Life is better. DMs is great.
Good DMs?
Great DMs. You know, I just look at them. I don't really hit accept. Just look at them, smile, and keep it pushing.
Smile. Feel good. It's good for your ego.
Yeah.
All right, well, DDG Blame the Chat is out right now, guys. Make sure it's been getting really positive responses, really great numbers. Keep it streaming. Honestly, like, people always talk about you being one of the first people that's an artist, but also has been in this world of streaming. You were super early on it. You know, just as far as being a YouTuber, then doing all of this. So just shout out to you and congratulations on having a solid project.
Thank you.
I know no matter what, we could act like it doesn't matter what people are saying, but it feels good.
Yeah, that's a great feeling. I never felt this like achieved with a project before.
Right.
I feel like I did good. I feel like it's going to continue to grow. It's not one of those things people going to listen to for a week. And then when Drake drop a collab album with Kendrick Lamar and featuring Adele and this and that, they still going to think about my Blame the Chat.
The biggest thing that changed my life. The biggest thing that changed my life. The biggest thing that changed my life was realizing that if I don't perfect, when I die, it's gonna be to my own hands. They gonna give me more time. Still gonna shine on. It's coming up. The biggest thing that changed my life. The big.
First and foremost, let's talk about what happened this weekend.
The biggest thing that changed.
Your mom, I bet you she didn't tell you this. I planned on giving.
Bro, I don't know what to watch, bro.
Michelle Evans, who has come out and claimed in now a civil suit that Shannon Sharpe sexually assaulted her, has spoken out in an interview about the allegations. Let's take a listen to Michelle speaking on her alleged rape.
What happened that day?
It was fighting. It was the biggest argument that we ever got in. You know, he was manhandling me beforehand, and he wanted to have sex, and I told him no, because you gave it to somebody else. I didn't only tell him no, I told him why. He wouldn't take no for an answer, so he overpowered me, put me to my knees, put his penis in my mouth, and after he got enough of that, he put me on the bed, and, you know, this was all a struggle. So I had said no. It was the hardest. Yeah, this is too hard. I remember he got dressed. He knew what he did, and so, you know, I just kind of escorted him out the door.
Yeah.
You just smelling that?
No, I wasn't talking about the smell, but go ahead.
Oh, never mind.
Okay. Oh.
I smelled it earlier, though. I know what you're talking about.
Right.
And then she talks about, because I think a lot of people have a question of why didn't she go and file a police report at the time? She talks about that as well. Let's take a listen.
He started coming at me. If I tell anybody, he'll use everybody he knows to destroy me, which he basically has. Then he started making other threats against my life. He just was so worried that it would get out, and I wasn't going to do anything. He told me he was watching me, and all that. I just went and got a protective order. Unfortunately, shortly after, he doxed me, and my address got out, and I had somebody stop by my apartment, and somebody came up to my door and said, "Shut up," screamed it at the top of their lungs. And I had my daughter in there right there, and I was like, oh no. And so I went and I dropped it, because also at my house, somebody came and sat out front of in the driveway while my daughter was there alone.
Why didn't you file a police report when he raped you?
Because I was scared for my life. Everybody he knows, and he knows lots of police officers. So I didn't know that if I went down there, that would be one of the people that he knows.
Now, this has been an interesting conversation following the claims that have come from the $50 million lawsuit that was filed by the OnlyFans woman that Shannon Sharpe also named. Because even in this interview, she speaks directly to her, and she's like, I know what you're going through, because the same thing happened to me. She mentioned that her address allegedly was leaked. She also talked about a time where, she was working at the protective order was dropped, but it was centered allegedly at that time as if it was dropped because it wasn't substantial.
Right.
She says that it went a different way. Let's take a listen to this last audio.
But then he started going on television. He came to my job, Turner Broadcasting, went on TV at CNN, and it was my job to put the videos from up to YouTube for CNN. So I'm putting up this video, and here I see Shannon at my job talking about domestic violence, and the co-host mentioned that, you had one that was just totally dropped, made it look like the police dropped it, not that I had gone down and withdrawn it. It created a picture that wasn't accurate.
Now she's
so
claiming
she had pressed charges against Shannon back in the day?
She had asked for a protective order, which would make it where he can't come within, like a certain radius of her and things of that nature.
She did it back then, or she didn't?
She did it back then,
Okay.
But she said that so according to Michelle Evans, she went to, police and said, can y'all just drop this? I wanted to go away, because she alleges that she was basically being like taunted. Like people would pop up and her daughter was around. So she didn't want her daughter, anything to happen. She feared for her life allegedly, right? But when Shannon Sharp's team responded to this, they called her claims ridiculous and completely without merit. They say that, and then they point to the fact that this case is still ongoing, the defamation suit that she filed in 2023, and that a judge denied her request for an order of protection. And he had mentioned this in the beginning, probably like a couple weeks ago. He dropped a statement that I received, and they called this, just people coming out of the woodworks to try and share a connection with Shannon Sharp in an attempt to profit off of a relationship. They say it's, her alleged targeting is purposeful, designed to create a fabricated narrative. But when this video came out, people were, because we were trying to figure out who Michelle Evans was. I think a lot of people didn't remember that suit back in 2023.
So this is all familiar, pretty much new.
That white lady name is Michelle Evans?
Yes.
So is that the Michelle in the live?
She hasn't confirmed that she was or was not the Michelle in the live, but I doubt it, because they've been going through legal litigations for almost 15 years now. So I doubt that he would have been on live with Homegirl. I hope not.
Well, you said 2023.
But this all of their issues began in 2010.
Gotcha.
Yes, and that's when there was, since 2010 to now, there's been a protective order that was then not a protective order anymore, and the defamation lawsuit that is still ongoing.
She was cheating on her husband.
Breakfast Club, sorry to interrupt, but y'all know how I do. So I'm here to talk about Top Dog Law. Y'all hear Top Dog Law all over your radio, and I know by now that if you want top dollar, you should also know this. You gotta call Top Dog Law if it's about your car accident. Don't let these little family lawyers finesse you into a little check. Shouldn't nothing be little this season. Remember, for any serious accident, injury case, Top Dog Law gets you top dollar. So make sure you call today to find out what your car accident, your slip and fall, or your construction accident case could really be worth. And calling Top Dog Law is completely free also. It's free for a consultation. Call Top Dog Law today to see if your case is eligible for compensation with no money down. So make sure y'all go holla at my dogs, no pun intended, over at Top Dog Law. That's Top Dog Law on Instagram and topdoglaw.com. Now, let's get back to the Breakfast Club. Monique over the weekend too had something to say about the Shannon Sharp stuff on stage. I believe she was in Indianapolis. She's still touring and hitting the stages. Let's take a listen. Yeah,
what did she say?
She said, "Yeah, we couldn't really hear well."
She white shalom.
Yeah, she was talking about the clip from her on Club Shay Shay where she's telling him to leave the young girls and the white women alone. Yeah,
crazy.
So all of this is like one thing after the other with the Shannon Sharp situation, but he still is denying all allegations.
Of course.
Has he said anything recently? I haven't
No.
So the last statement that he dropped, it was like early last week, which was what I would just read from. They basically gave this long statement that said all of this is purposeful. These women know what they're doing. Allegedly, it's a shakedown. We're not going to keep addressing these things because these are fabricated stories. And every time I reach back out for any additional statements, I did do that today because of the interview, and I did it on Sunday. They normally point to this statement, but I'll see if they give me anything additional.
But Michelle Evans is still married, right?
Oh, I don't know if she's still with her man or not.
And didn't she say something in the interview like I don't know if I was cheating at the time or something like that? It was a weird line that was kind of weird.
She couldn't remember. I thought that was weird too. She couldn't remember whether she actually broke up with, because she said she alleges that Shannon Sharp wanted her to break up with her husband, but she got upset because he had a girl in his house that he moved out and then moved another girl in and she didn't know. So she didn't want to have sex with him allegedly the day when he showed up and allegedly raped her, because she was mad because he was dealing with other women, but wanted her to himself allegedly. But she couldn't remember whether she cut it off with her husband or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is the latest with Lauren. Charlamagne, who you giving your donkey to?
Man, 4 after the hour. Speaking of distressed white women, we need Shiloh Hendricks to come to the front of the congregation. We'd like to have a word with her, please.
All right. We'll get to that next. It's the Breakfast Club. Good morning.
Wake that ass up.
Early in the morning.
The Breakfast Club.
Check out video of the full show on Tubi. Free. Classic interviews and more on Tubi every day, all day long, all for free.